Hello, Aries rising, and welcome to your astrology and tarot forecast for this full moon in Aquarius. The moon is full on Monday, August 19th, and it has a lot of energy going along with it. So that's why I'm here to let you know where it's going to show up for you and help you think about um, how you might work with the energy. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Lisa Merrifield. I am with Trails Edge Astrology. And on this channel, I like to help busy people like you make good, informed decisions that are grounded and practical and, based in solid advice about the astrological weather that is coming your way. Of course, these readings are general, so it really is dependent on what other placements you have and what other aspects are connecting to the main aspects we're going to talk about. I do offer personal readings. If you're interested in one, I will put my website in the show notes, and you are welcome to hop over and look me up and see how that works. I also offer a membership service which will open in November. If you like this style of reading where we do astrology and tarot together, I will record a personal analysis for you and email it to you every month if you are part of my membership group. Um, More information on that as time gets closer. All right, and as always, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. That helps the algorithm know that this is interesting and useful content, and it helps me know that this is interesting and useful content. And I would greatly appreciate it. I'm a small, relatively new content creator, and so if you're willing to give me a hand up, I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get on to talking about this full moon and what we can expect from it. So, every August we have a full moon in Aquarius. When the sun is in Leo, at some point the moon is in Aquarius, and that is our full moon in Aquarius. And for you, that happens on your between your fifth and 11th houses. And your fifth house is your house of individual creativity, and your 11th house is how you're creative in groups. So it's about creativity and building ideas and pulling things together, and where the balance is between who you are as an individual and who you are in groups in that creative effort. So that happens every year. This year is particularly interesting, though. And the first reason it is particularly interesting is because this full moon is square Uranus. And Uranus is a planet that asks us about liberation and about revolution, and is a planet that breaks down calcified parts of our lives um, so that we can go on and do the work we need to do. It's not always pretty. So we've had a lot of Uranian energy this year. We have had the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, which happened in April. We had a Mars Uranus conjunction that happened in July. We have had some squares to Uranus from Mercury and Venus in August, and now this full moon is square Uranus. For you, that Uranian energy is showing up in your house of self worth and values, how you spend your time, treasures, and talents, and it may just be about money. Could potentially be. So something about that as part of your life, that those your core values, how you spend your time, treasures, and talents is up for revision and renewal, and like breaking out some old information, breaking out some old staleness so that you can really step into whatever it is you are bringing in. So that's the first part of this full moon that has the potential to maybe bring up some shock and surprise. I, Being that we've had so much energy in Uranus, I don't think it's going to be totally new, but it could be like finally you have to address the elephant in the room. Or it could be that, finally you see something in a new way, or oh, I didn't know I was still struggling with that. Sometimes that happens when you think you've dealt with something and then you hear something or somebody says something and you're like, oh, nope, this is not done. I need to keep working on it. So something like that could come up with this full moon. Again, it depends on what other energy you have in that space in your chart, and how you pull, how that all pull, what the placements in your chart look like. But even if something doesn't specifically manifest in your life, there will be ripple effects. This is going to show up for us in society, and it is going to show up for other people in your lives in varying ways, depending on their rising sign and what other planets they have going on. But we're going to feel this full moon, and that Uranian energy is not going to go unnoticed. So that's one piece of this full moon that makes it, makes it power packed. The second piece is potentially even more so. So we have something called a T square forming in the sky. We have um, Saturn is going to be opposite Venus during this full moon. So Saturn is in Pisces, Venus is in Virgo. There we go. And and so that opposition is also square Mars and Jupiter who just met in Gemini. And and the T square aspect is a tense aspect, and it asks for some kind of work and resolution. Again, not always the prettiest. Like a Uranus square is not always pretty. A T square is not always pretty. Um, but it pushes the envelope and it pushes us to take action. Now, I'm not going to tease apart the whole T square in your chart, but I do want to focus on the Saturn Jupiter piece of it. Saturn and Jupiter are square each other. And I'm focusing on that because Saturn and Jupiter form the structures in our lives. And they meet every 20 years to help bring the story along, to help continue the tale. And so Saturn and Jupiter last met in December of 2020, and they initiated a new 20-year cycle. They met at 0 degrees of Aquarius at that point. So this is interesting because Jupiter and Saturn, as I said, meet every 20 years, but for about 200 years, they meet in the same sign every 20 years. I'm sorry, not the same sign, the same element every 20 years. So for the past 200 years, they have met in earth signs. So they have been building structures around earthy kinds of things, Capricornian, Taurosian, and Virgoan kinds of areas of the world. So we had the Industrial Revolution. We have, our values around what wealth looks like, what success looks like, what those real material kind of pieces look like. And on that conjunction, December of 2020, we moved from conjunctions in earth signs to conjunctions in air signs. So this is a really different feel. So for the next 200 years, society is going to work on structures that are more airy, which means they're more about ideas and communication and what we write, what we say, how we speak, how we think about things, what the narrative looks like. And so this is a real interesting shift. So from kind of a material age to an information age. And we've been, these things are very rarely like just turn on a dime. We've been feeling this come in, but I think much more so, we're really going to be working on what structures look like related um, to our ideas and our thoughts. And and for you, as an Aries rising, that happened in your house of community, of how you show up in groups, how you show up, with your friends, with other people. It's a very macro relationship kind of house. So not necessarily like the one-on-one relationships, but how you are in a group, how you are in community, what part you are in that community. And so there's something about that that's being both illuminated by this full moon and was illuminated by that Jupiter Saturn conjunction back in December of 2020. Pluto is also there at 0 degrees of Aquarius, touching that sensitive point. So there's some energy around groups and community that is ripe for some structural review in this process. And I bring all this up because, we're 3.5 years from that conjunction, and we're going to have what's called an opening square. So Jupiter will square Saturn at this point in time. And that Jupiter-Saturn square is a point of crisis. So we've been building something since that conjunction. We've been building into whatever this next 20-year cycle will bring. And we're at a point where we get to make some decisions. What's working, what's not working, what stays, what goes, what needs to be released, and if I can release that, what can I bring in? So that's where we are in the cycle. Jupiter and Saturn are going to meet 3 times. So they're meeting on this full moon, but they're going to meet 2 more times, 3 times total, um, before we have solidified this. So this is just the opening volley, but it's really public because we've got this Aquarius full moon highlighting that part of your chart. And for now, this Saturn Jupiter square is in your Saturn's in your 12th house, Jupiter's in your 3rd house. So there's something really related to how you communicate and express ideas and thoughts, and some kind of maybe a deep spiritual connection, or a connection to your subconscious mind, or maybe some desire to really be internal and look within for answers. So yeah, there's some communicative piece, something about working with peers, or working with how you craft the message, um, and how that connects to your deep subconscious, your shadow self, your those parts of you that you might not always see or want to express. Something around that is potentially becoming illuminated. This also could have something to do with health aspects. Um, Venus is in your 6th house, so there could be some health kind of issue that maybe you're working on communicating. Um, yeah, so definitely, if you're feeling unwell, please go to the doctor. This is a tense aspect, and has the potential to bring up some things that need to be evaluated. So, so that's really the interesting thing about this full moon, and why I think it's so important for us to do a little bit deeper dive and to look into how this might show up for you. So I'm going to move on and pull some cards on this to see if we can get a little bit more information about how you, as an Aries rising, um, could work with energy in the places that I've mentioned that are coming up and being highlighted with this full moon. So we're going to pull from the Mind's Eye Tarot by Olivia Rose, and I'm going to pause and shuffle my cards, and we're going to do a 5-card spread and see what comes up. All right, I'll be right back. All righty. So let's look at what we can do to work with this full moon to help us move into this 20-year Saturn-Jupiter cycle. All right, so what has manifested since December of 2020 for you? That is our first card. And we got the Queen of Pentacles. So I wonder if you haven't found a really, maybe it's a self-care routine, or maybe it's some way of nurturing yourself or nurturing your family, or maybe it's just material abundance. Um, Uranus is in your 2nd house of money and resources and finances, and the Queen of Pentacles is, potentially somebody who has managed to figure out how to live within resources, or has brought in some material resources. So you're something about nurturing yourself in all of the ways that nurturing yourself can be, building that stable foundation, making sure that you have material security. Some of that is coming in. I think that, so we're really pulling on that 2nd house kind of resources. That, how do you spend your time, treasures, and talents? So something about that, I think, has really come in since that Jupiter Uranus conjunction. So whatever you're working on is some kind of like material manifestation of whatever this next chapter um, looks like. I don't know if I said the words, but Jupiter Uranus coming together in Aquarius is really the architect of the ideal. So the ideal society, the ideal life, whatever that ideal looks like for you. So it's heady, but this is a real material, grounded application of whatever that is. So, like, bringing it into the 3D world. So hopefully you had some success in that area, or if not success, you're starting to feel the longings of your heart. Like, I want to build this thing that makes that will help me align with where I want to be and what I want to do in the world. All right. What do you need to see at this crisis point? And you need to see the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is some new information, potentially new, surprising information. It could be a messenger coming into your life to give you a piece of information that helps you figure out, what's happening in this Queen of Pentacles that needs to shift. So there's some aha moment, some new information. This feels like Uranus to me, that like flash of insight, or like you gotta look at your shadow, you gotta look at the elephant in the room. You can't keep hiding from whatever this is. So I think there's going to be something new that comes in, and it might not come in directly with this full moon, but in the next year, something new, some new piece of shocking information that you need that will help you break through will be here, and the universe is saying, look at it, don't ignore it. All right. Um, what do you need to release in order to embrace this chapter? You got the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords is being in a cage of your own making. So, where are you tying yourself up or getting yourself caught with mental gymnastics or literal gymnastics, where you're basically sabotaging yourself? You're not letting yourself move forward. So there's some piece of you where you have decided that this is the only way to do something, or this is the way it has to be, and so you are blocking your progress. And so this Eight of Swords is saying you need to release yourself, set yourself free. Whatever conditions you've set up, whatever boundaries you've put in place, don't throw them all away. Like, be practical about it. But if there are places where you are the roadblock, so an example, I had this really weird back pain for years, and I did acupuncture, I did physical therapy, I did massage, I did all the things I could think of, hot baths and Epsom salt, all the things I could think of. And I went to a reflexologist, of all people, and she could feel it in my feet, working on my feet. She could feel this block, and she was like, I feel like someone is blocking you, someone is standing in your way. And suddenly I was like, oh, it's me. I'm standing in my way. I'm the one who's not letting me move into this next chapter. And that back pain disappeared. I mean, just instantly. Like, I'm the one standing in my way. So, that story is to say, um, where are you standing in your way? And it's time to let yourself free. It might be scary. You might have to admit something. You might have to like have this aha moment, see something, be slapped upside the face, something like that. That was violent. I don't mean to be violent. But you might have some like, oh, I'm the one standing in my way. The only way I'm going to go forward is if I get out of my way. So easier said than done, but that's what the cards are saying. And if you do that, what can you embrace? And you got the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is a glorious card. The Ace of Wands is all about living in your passion and creativity. So it's the most pure form of that energy. And this Leo moon cycle, this Aquarian energy is really about creativity for you as an Aries rising. And so if you can get out of your own way, if you can get, stop the tape, stop the loop, whatever it is you are putting in place to keep yourself from achieving whatever this Queen of Pentacles is trying to bring in, um, there's some beautiful new energy there available to you. There's a new start that you can really do whatever this thing is you were dreaming of doing. It is possible. You just have to get out of your own way. All right. And then what is the message from the universe? And the message from the universe is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is the card of fate. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and you don't always know, and you can't always predict like what is good and what is bad. So something might have happened that on the surface of it feels yucky. And you might, maybe that's why you're blocking yourself, because this thing has happened, and there's some, you know, fear or trepidation, or you're afraid it's going to happen again. I don't know, whatever's happening in your life. But this card is saying that good and bad aren't always as we perceive them as humans. Sometimes something that looks objectively bad has to happen in order to free you up to do something amazing. And so keep that in mind, that when things transpire in your life, um, it may be to release you. It may be to set you free in places that you can't otherwise be set free. Without without having that whatever that blanket is, like security blanket is taken away from you. So yeah, there's something about like the Wheel of Fortune is spinning, and you are moving in the direction of soul's evolution, even if it feels like you're going backwards sometimes. All right, Aries rising, I hope this was helpful. I hope to see you again soon. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Help me spread my message. Help me build my channel. I very much appreciate any of that you're willing to do for me. All right. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.